Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Feels so great to be back making videos for the Shuffle Squad. It's been a little bit, but we are here back and hopefully on a weekly basis. That being said, we're going to be going over our top 5 best decks heading into Baltimore. Is that going to change in a couple weeks? We'll find out, but I want to start off somewhere and give everyone an idea where the metagame is right now. If you are trying to pick up any of these cards, you can go to AtlasTCG.com, plug in code TSS12, or if you're trying to get the cards online, you can go to PTCGO Store.com and plug in code TSS5 there. That being said, we'll be sharing all these lists, so let's jump into it, let's get it, and check it out. Hopping into number 5 is going to be Arceus V-Star with Duraludon VMAX. I took the Shuffle Squad's very own Josh Frank's list from the top 4 of the late night series. Shout out to them for piloting Arceus Duraludon. And this is what we got. It's one of those decks where you're going to be doing very basic Arceus, attaching an energy, next turn either getting the double turbo of the energy that you're missing with Starbirth or just naturally having it, powering up a Duraludon V. You also have that option to go for single strike mustard to summon a Duraludon VMAX into play if you can empty out your hand. Starbirth can help you get there with Ultra Ball, Quick Ball, however which way you can empty your hand. If not, again, we can manually power them up with Trinity Nova, or even just using Arceus V. So it's really just like power up this Pokemon, and Duraludon VMAX hits for some solid numbers. Its Gmax Pulverization can knock out most Pokemon V in the game, so you can just go simple Boss's Orders, knock them out. That could be an Origin Form Palkia V or a Mew V or anything else like that. These are all things that are very possible. Its ability is what can slow down a lot of decks. Between its ability and HP, stopping your opponent's special energies from going through, putting Mew to only a max Miracle or anything else like that can be very devastating. This deck can just also outright beat decks like Regigigas if they do not have any outs towards its Skyscraper ability. With 330 HP, this deck can just like withstand some hits. I know there's a lot of decks out there like Palkia V-Star that try to get there. If they do not play the Crabominal V, you're not necessarily getting there. So this deck's sturdy, it's good, it's our 5th place deck, and it's kind of a placeholder deck. There was a few decks that could have been in this spot, whether it was Ice Rider Calyrex with Palkia, similar to what we saw Grant Manley pilot at Worlds. Could have been Regigigas, similar to what we saw Little Dark Fury make their 3rd place at the eBay Fan Expo Open. There's a lot of decks that could have been this 5th place, but I think that Arceus Duraludon is the flavor of the moment, and that's not to say that it won't be that for the time that Baltimore rolls around. This deck is just currently our default 5th in format. We'll see how it grows. What's going to be number 4? Let's see what it is. You know I had to put Radiant Charizard on this list. We already brought it up. It won the late night number 51, the late night number 52, and here we have it at number 4. This deck is going to be basically attacking with Radiant Charizard when you can, and there's other things too that you could attack with. You got Radiant Charizard, Druddigon, and Inteleon. It sounds like a theme deck beyond the Radiant Charizard, but they do hit relevant numbers. Druddigon can knock out other Inteleons with a choice spell that can knock out things such as Genesect. Radiant Charizard can knock out most V-Star Pokemon in the formats, and with cross switchers you could really just bring up those Pokemon. It's a deck that I might want to add Echoing Horn into, as we saw David Hendrickson when they won the late night series number 51. But for all other Pokemon, you're just going to be attacking with Inteleon, sacrificing prize cards by using Snorlax, Sobble, all that kind of good stuff, and then really trying to go for that late game Charizard. Considering most decks are 2 to 3 prize cards, you have a little bit of time before you can start getting those attacks off, and Radiant Charizard can quite often win the game in about 3 turns by knocking out 3 V Pokemon. If you're playing against a single prize card deck, unfortunately this deck is unfavored, so that's one of the reasons why it's so low on the list. Otherwise it would just be kind of like a perfect deck. This deck's already seen some success with Ross Cawthon making top 16 at Worlds. We saw this deck in various quantities and placements at the London Open. It's one of those like high skill ceiling decks that's probably drawing people back, because Radiant Charizard has actually dropped down in cost a little bit nowadays. It's not the once $100 card it once was. I think it's around 20 US or something like that. This deck's acquirable. It's more like a theme deck, but very difficult to play. That being said, we might see this deck kind of do a little bit more now that it won 2 late night series back to back. I think it's the real deal. We'll have to see if other people agree with that. Next up on our list is going to be Palkia V-Star. Palkia V-Star has been kind of the crown jewel of our format. It's been topping events. It's probably the most consistent placing deck, with this deck having a lot of placements at Worlds with Cal Connor and James Cox and Andrew Estrada. This deck came second at the North American International Championships. It has a top 4 placement at Milwaukee Regionals. Will it get that placement at Baltimore? And I think the answer is yes. The reason why this deck has gone so low onto this list at this point is this deck probably loses to Flying Pikachu. Big VMAX Lightning type Pokemon probably beats Pokemon that are weak to Lightning. Of course, this deck is just all about filling your bench with Pokemon, filling your opponent's bench, or forcing them not to. Radiant Greninja itself can just force your opponent to put a Manaphy down. That increases your opponent's damage for subspace well. If they don't put Manaphy down, you're going to put them between a rock and a hard place, because Radiant Greninja can go ahead and gobble up Sobbles, Drizziles, Zigzagoons, just anything really. And even if there's not those Pokemon, I've had countless successful games where I'm able to put damage on 2V, VMAX, V-Star Pokemon and really find ways to plug into those Pokemon later on in the game. You have options to go like Cross Switcher and Roxanne in the same turn, or Irida for multiple pieces and searching things out with Inteleon. This list seems to kind of have it all. One thing that I do see on trend is Canceling Clone is very good. We'll have to see exactly how that plays out into the metagame, but you can shut off your opponent's Manaphy to do things with Radiant Greninja, and you do have opportunities to really just shut things down otherwise. I think that this deck is just the best deck. It's kind of similar where Mew was about 6 months ago, where the format was countering it out. It's still always going to be good. You just got to watch out for counters nowadays. Flying into number 2 is going to be Flying Pikachu VMAX with Arceus V-Star. This is exactly the list that won the World Championships, and I think that Andra pretty much perfected this. You're just going to be using Arceus V-Star the same way as you were in the Arceus Duraludon deck. You're powering things up, and you're going to be powering up Pikachu against Lightning type decks, and you're powering up Decidueye against decks like Arceus that are weak to fighting. Pretty simple. We're playing with weakness here, and we have Barrel, Crobat, Lumineon, and we also have the ability of Decidueye V-Star or Arceus V-Star to make this deck consistent. It's a pretty bare bones list, should be relatively easy to play, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's ineffective. It probably means that it's very effective. We're trying to just do Pikachu things or Decidueye things after attacking with Arceus V-Star. If you hit a Palkia V-Star deck, Flying Pikachu is going to hurt them a lot. Decks like Regigigas might not have opportunities against Flying Pikachu VMAX, so keep that in mind as we go through the metagame, that a deck like this probably just takes a bunch of free wins. Against other decks like Mew VMAX, this deck probably takes some losses. Of course, this deck does have the ability to beat it with Path to the Peak and Marnie, but if other decks are able to get past that, this deck doesn't really have too much more. It beats the decks that it beats, it tries to beat the decks that it does okay against, but sometimes you will just lose with this deck. So if you want to go on a little bit of a heat or tear and try to hit some Palkia, some Arceus decks without Dunsparce, this is probably the deck to play. Really good. It won Worlds. We literally have the exact same Worlds list. In no other format have we had it due to Lost Origins being pushed, so you could literally play the World Championship winning deck at a Regionals. We have all the information. Let's get it. What's going to be our number 1 pick? Find out now. Put your best guesses in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Shuffle Squad YouTube channel. Here we have it. Number 1 is Mew VMAX. Now, Mew VMAX before NAIC, or basically at NAIC, fell out of the format a little bit. It's one of those decks where it doesn't really have the best Palkia V-Star matchup, and with Palkia V-Star getting countered by Arceus Flying Pikachu and other decks, Mew VMAX is kind of wiggle its way all the way back on top as being the prime go-to play for most players heading into Baltimore. Whether it's this list or the Michael Promowad inspired list that only plays 4 double turbos, no Fusion Strike, no Meloetta, Mew VMAX seems like it's going to be a sizable play at Baltimore. You beat the Flying Pikachu deck, you can do okay against the other decks like Arceus Duraludon, and you can do okay against Palkia V-Star. You just kind of have the options, and Mew VMAX is not necessarily a deck that loses too much. Yeah, you could have some rough matchups, but you don't really auto-lose to much, is kind of what I'm saying. you're always kind of in the game, a coin flip away with a Pokemon catcher, or if your opponent has a little bit of a dead turn, Mew is a deck that capitalizes on it very quickly. We saw this deck make countless appearances at Worlds at various placements, with Andre Chiasson making top 8. We had Gabe Smart making top 32, and there's other players as well. Mew can be a bit of a mixed bag, but as the metagame kind of shapes and creates some kind of mold of form, I think that Mew VMAX, particularly this style of list, looks to see a lot of success. Will that change in a week? We'll have to find out, but right now, Mew VMAX looks to be where it's at. Maybe we'll see more Dark-type decks come out in the next week or so, and that might change things up a little bit, but again, this list is for right now. We are literally September 1st at the time of recording. This is where it's at. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments below. And that's what we got going on for this video today. Hopefully you enjoyed learning more about the top 5 decks. Is there a deck on here that you thought you'd see or that you thought you didn't see? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see how everything goes at Baltimore. Most of the Shuffle Squad is going to be at this event, including myself, so hopefully get a chance to meet up at this event. We love seeing people who watch and support our content. I do want to let everyone know that you can support the Shuffle Squad directly by going to AtlasTCG.com, plugging code TSS12 to save 12% off your order, including sealed product with Lost Origin coming up and singles and all that great stuff. It seems like a great opportunity. Same thing, go to PTCGO Store.com, plugging code TSS5 to save 5% on your next order of codes. With Lost Origins coming out, you can definitely use that discount and save a pretty penny. We also have our Patreon, and we're going to be restarting our YouTube members very soon, so stay tuned for more details on that. But you can go to patreon.com/TSSWin and have access to exclusive content from everyone on the entire Shuffle Squad. So check that out, really helps support us, and give this video a like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think. Feels great to be back making videos, and thank you so much everyone for watching. I'll catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great day.
The Shuffle Squad is proudly sponsored by Atlas Collectibles, the best place to buy any trading card game product online. Visit AtlasTCG.com, and at the checkout screen, make sure to use code TSS12 to save an unbeatable 12% off your entire order. Atlas Collectibles will ship your product anywhere in the world, so make sure you're taking advantage of the 12% savings with TSS12.
The Shuffle Squad is partnered with PTCGO Store to provide our community with the best access to Pokemon TCG codes. They have codes available 24/7, instant email delivery, and you can save 5% off by using code TSS5. If you're a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, you'll have access to a special code that gets you 10% off. So what are you waiting for? Use code TSS5 today and save 5% on your next order of codes on any codes available at PTCGOstore.com.
This video is sponsored by PokeXWord.com, the best place to get your fill of Pokemon-inspired puzzles. New puzzles are posted every Sunday, and it's a great way to disconnect and have some fun. Not only that, but they also host monthly giveaways on their channel. I personally complete these puzzles every week and can honestly say that they're pretty challenging. They've recently added a puzzle with flavor text only, which is a ton of fun. Be sure to follow PokeXWord on Twitter to get notified when new puzzles are posted and when their giveaways are live.
Check out the Late Night Series Season 6, brought to you by myself, Zach Lesage, and the Shuffle Squad. We're going to be running a bunch of sick events for the Pokemon community, and they start on August 30th. So one thing you might be noticing here is that there's an EU time and an NA time. We have one at 12 p.m. Eastern, which works out to about 5 p.m. in London. And then we have one at 7 p.m. Eastern, which should help out a lot of players on the West Coast play in this event. That being said, we still have a lot of cool things going on. Expect similar prizing that we've had for other Late Night Series events. Expect better staffing. Expect better tournament experiences. And of course, we do have a stream going up for this season as well, and I will be streaming the event on Twitch. That being said, we have the whole season up on the Play Limitless website. Late Night 51 all the way through 70 runs until we hit the Invitational on November 5th. So check that out, sign up today, and support Zach Lesage events and the Shuffle Squad. See you there.
The Shuffle Squad is an organization focused on bringing light to the Pokemon community. We love everything that there is to do with Pokemon, and we hope that you do too. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following us, and commenting on this video to let us know what you'd like to see in the next video on the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video in its entirety, and we hope to see you next time.